What's up, everybody? We're going live. Start sit questions. Drop them in the chats. I expect this to be a little bit lighter since there's a game on. I got the stats rolled up. I'm watching it down here, but I wanted to watch some of it before it jumped on. Plus, people watching the game instead. But we'll run through this, watching the game right now, and looking through the news here. And that was funny with the Gainwell stuff coming in. People not liking that with it being so early. I do not like these early games, honestly. I do not like them. Like, I don't like them. Like, they're not fun for me. Like, I don't like 9 in the morning football. It's fine, I guess, but I still don't like it. I don't like Thursday games either. Status, Calvin Austin headed to the locker room. Jackson Dart warming up. Juwan Jennings will play. There's some news right there. Just strolling through news. So whoever doesn't have questions but want to stop by. Steelers RB so far. That was 19 minutes ago. Kenneth Gainwell, 15 touches. Caleb Johnson, 2 touches. That has changed, though. But nothing significant. 6 carries, 22 yards, 3.7 for Caleb Johnson. Kenneth Gainwell got 2 touchdowns, 5.2 yards per carry. Kind of said it in the videos. Prior to even season going to start, Arthur Smith's going to Arthur Smith. That's just about it. Like, Kent Gainwell was going to eat into this workload. Kind of said that going in. You're still watching Caleb Johnson. He's like a stash. But, you got so much weirdness with this team already. And now you got Caleb Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell here. He's good. Kenneth Gainwell's a good back. He's just not like a top echelon fantasy back that people want to covet. But he's a good back for any NFL team. Like, he'd help a lot of teams out there. So, right now, looks like we're on the 15-yard line, 15-ish. A big miss there. I'm watching on NFL Plus, so you might be ahead of me. 4th down, 4th and 6. There's old Olsen right there. Going back to the news here real quick. Drop your start-sit questions in the comments below. Bill Krosky-Merritt is active. Let's see here. So, let's see here. Thank you for the question here. First one of the day. Hollywood revenge game. Tolbert, Turpin, or T. Higgins? I think it's a question between Hollywood and T. Higgins for me. Not really trusting Higgins' situation right now, but there's a chance he could squeak it by because of them having to get creative in the offense against Denver. I'm going to see what Fantasy Pros has for you real quick, but my gut, I feel a little safer with Hollywood. I think if T. Higgins is going to hit, he's going to hit big. He ain't going to hit a random 10 to 12 spot, if I can spell. 35. I bet you he's ahead of Hollywood. $46. They got T ahead of Hollywood. I think we're going to have okay movement, though, in this Baltimore Chiefs game. You got Worthy back, but he's come back from that injury. I think it's tighter between those two. Fundamentals probably would go T. Higgins over Marquise Hollywood Brown. My gut goes Marquise Hollywood Brown, though, and it's tight. I just don't like this matchup right here. I think they're looking at T. Higgins like how they would the last few years. I think we got a lot of questions with Browning, the offensive line. If Higgins hits, it's just going to be a couple big splash plays. Where Marquise, he didn't really hit last week. That's the thing about him. Imagine he's got a different name on every different platform. That's the problem with him. He didn't really hit last couple weeks, but he's been getting workload. I think he's safer to get you that 10 to 12 range if you're looking for that. I think Higgins, if he's going to hit, he's going to hit big. So if you're shooting for more upside, sure, there's also upside with Brown, though, with this matchup with Baltimore, because you're looking at a good, 49.5 over-under with their lines. So Vegas is saying, the market with Vegas, they're saying that's going to be Pacheco over T. I would think, when I'm thinking Pacheco with that, looking at what he's been doing, like, we haven't gotten anything out of him. And we're still getting workload. I think you're just hoping he crosses the goal line, which is pretty much the same odds because you also got Kareem Hunt there as the 2 wide receivers. I think T. Higgins is more of your upside play if you're chasing that 20-plus point performance. If you're trying to get on the fairway, I'd go Marquise Hollywood Brown. That's how I would do it. Isaiah Pacheco, the volume of this game could push him a little bit, but this Giants game should have pushed him a little bit, and he had a good yards per carry. I think I'd go Hollywood Brown if I'm just trying to, if the rest of my lineup's solid, I'm good to go. I'm not hurting from Thursday. I think more often than not, my lineups, though, I'd probably be rocking T, shooting for that upside. But if you want to shoot for, like, security, Marquise Hollywood Brown's actually safe because, again, there's 5 to 6 targets. They're better targets. I think T. Higgins is more for either 25 or 5 scenario when it comes to fantasy scoring this week. Guys, should I start Godwin in fantasy? I have a bad receiving core of T-Mac, Matthew Golden. I do not know who to start, Godwin or Golden. So, Golden, the thing about Golden, I think we got time. Let's see if Golden's separation score is on Twitter where I can get it. Oh, that's getting me. Let's see if I can find it for you. He's separating. He's just not getting. Maybe ask. Maybe that. See what that brings up. All right. PFF wide receiver separation grades. Matthew Golden. Let's see here. Let's see. Separation. Right here. He's been separating. If you see that. Right here. He's been separating. It's on all the advanced analytics sites data. And also, you're seeing he getting missed on deep shots. Golden's going to be an upside flyer until he starts ramping up. And he's in his rookie ramp-up period. He's also with the Packers as they got the carousel effect. It could be random. He's got a good matchup this week. That's the thing about that. The thing that makes this matchup bad is they could be so far up on the Cowboys. I do not understand this over-under. I think I'd be chasing the under here unless something weird happens. I do not understand the market for that. When you're looking at Godwin, the question is, how are they going to use him? So that's a wild card with an unknown we don't have. That is just what we got. Back to work. Half man, half monster. I feel, from what I saw from the practice clips, and from what I've seen, I feel good, and it's not 100% certain, and we'll play a lot. It's JPA. I don't really trust that. We'll keep scrolling. But from what I've seen from the practice clips, I feel like Godwin's going to get a lot of work. I feel like I don't see anybody credible saying it yet. But from what I've seen in the practice clips, which is a very small sample, I feel like Godwin's going to get a lot of work. And I feel like the volume's going to be there. I feel like Godwin's the safer answer due to targets. Opportunity. Mike Evans out. They're really needing him right now. There's going to be a lot of heat on Emeka Buka because he's been the hot guy, and he's the guy coming back from injury. Last 7 games last season, 50. Like, I think he's going to soak up some volume. I think it was me. I'd go Godwin. And then kind of like the previous question, like if I was hurting from Thursday, if I'm needing to shoot for more upside and gamble, I'd go Golden to see if he hits that big play. I think this could be the Golden breakout game. It's Chris Godwin, and I feel good that Chris Godwin in his debut is going to get a fair amount of workload out of the slot, with what Baker Mayfield's doing. Not really seeing anything super credible of him getting a lot of workload being said down here. But from what I've garnered from watching practice clips, it looks like he's going to be okay. Tyreek Hill or Quentin Johnston? That's a good question. Going back to the Dolphins game here, I'm going to look at that. Dolphins, Jets, 45 over under. You got Chargers. They got a matchup here where they could be ahead where they don't even need to use the wide receivers. That's my risk. That's your risk. They may not need to use these wide receivers against the Giants. They may not. We've seen a lot of game scripts where, like, there's a chance that only one of these wide receivers hit this week, and it's a carousel effect, and you're really just plucking straws. And Quentin Johnston's been solid. I think you're good with either one. That's the thing that makes it hard for you because you're good. You're blessed with two good wide receivers. I think the matchup here has risk here with the Chargers Giants. If Dart plays like a rookie and he plays like a back end first round rookie against a tough defense here, they're at home at least, then the Chargers may not get enough pushback in this game to really have enough firepower to use all three wide receivers the way you want. Where Tyreek Hill, you got a Monday night game here against the Jets, 45.5. Justin Fields is back. And then Tyreek Hill recently, he's been solid. 15 and 16, 17 targets. The targets are, I think I'd go Tyreek Hill. I feel a little bit safer with the matchup. Do I trade ETN? Do I trade ETN for Ted McMillan? I have CMC, JT Mason. Wide receivers are Olave, Pickens, Mike Evans, Tyreek. CMC, JT Mason. So you're Studley at running back right now. So you're all right there. You got that third running back, though. You lost Evans, so you're rolling Pickens and Tyreek. I think it's like I wouldn't want to trade my running back for a wide receiver, but at least you know when you're getting Tet that you're going to be getting those targets. And I think it's going to be fair. I think he's not going, unless he gets hurt, like he's going to continue to get this workload of 9, 10, 8 targets a game. He's going to get targets deep downfield. He's dealing with a calf today. This matchup could be a little bit awkward for him. If you're looking to patch that up, then sure, I would not love to trade ETN for a wide receiver, but if you're looking to patch that up, I think it's fair. Questions are starting to roll in, so I'm going to start going faster at this. Sorry, guys. So next one, half PPR, Golden. If Matthew Golden over Fannin, I'd roll with that. I think the upside's there. I think I'd roll with that. I think the Cowboys game's solid. What we looked at with Golden is he's separating more than a lot of wide receivers right now. I think this is a matchup where he could potentially go off. Worthy, Downs, Butte, Turpin, or Hendo at flex. That isn't it. So just breaking that down, I think we're going to look at this two different ways of what you really want here at flex and the rest of your lineup and your matchup. If you're looking for straight up upside, the upside play that could go off is Hendo. That I would throw in, but there's high risk, high reward. If you're looking at safety, security for your bang for the buck, that can at least get you on the fairway, I think I'm going to rock Downs. I like that matchup. I think there's going to be volume there. I think they're going to have to get creative against that Rams D. I think out of those three, Worthy, Downs, Butte, I want to see what Worthy's doing on the field. I think he could stretch a big play, make something happen with Jack. I think Butte's going to run a lot of routes. I think Downs' matchup breaks all those tiebreakers. If it was me, I'd go Downs. If I was in a hardship, I'd go Hendo for the upside. My next one here, Goddard or Ertz? That's a very good question there. That's a very good one. I'm thinking about that matchup here, Goddard or Ertz. Let's see what Fantasy Pros has for a second. My gut went Goddard. And then they got Goddard at 16. Reason why it's against Tampa Bay, and I think that green strip's going to break a little bit. They got Ertz at 12 against Atlanta. And my pause with that is the quarterback play and the risk, but they don't have wide receivers either. So both of them are kind of in spots where you're like, hey, Goddard has his quarterback. I think you're just hoping for one of them to score. And if I'm looking at this, I trust Hurts a little bit more. That would be what I would cut my tie with. Like, it's against Tampa Bay. It's on the road. I think that's going to help Tampa Bay being down a wide receiver. And that's going to allow them to get some pushback in the game. And Ric Flair's here, guys. Ric Flair's here. He's back here. I got a figure here. Got the autograph right there. That's always going to stay here. Used to have that with me at college. I took it to college with me even. Ric Flair never leaves. Pacheco or Tootin. All right. Pacheco, if you just want the touch points and hope for the score. Tootin, if you want the upside. So, honestly, if I was thinking about my lineups, I think I'd be at a 60-40 split. And I'd be going 60-40 Pacheco over Tootin. And I'd be going Tootin in those lineups where, like I'm hurting from Thursday. I need to see if he can score. But more than likely, most of my lineups, I'd be rocking Pacheco. Just as the security net of knowing I'm going to get, around 10 carries? I got to stop using my trackpad because I'm going to mess up. Just because I know I'm going to get around 10 carries. And I'm probably going to get a couple targets. So that could volume its way to fantasy production. And then also you got a game here with a game script that has like a 49.5 over under. Still, did that change yet? Did over under change? Did it move? Vegas calling that out. Where's that at? Don't make me have to control F it. Chiefs Ravens 48.5 over under. So the over under dropped a little bit. So yeah, I'd go Pacheco more often than not in my lineups, but for upside with Tootin on some others. Pick 3. Hill, Sutton, Keenan, McMillan, Pickens. You're just blessed with great wide receivers, honestly. So that kind of makes that a little bit harder for you. So you're trying to shoot for upside. You have good safety and security with a lot of these guys. I think Pickens is your most risky play. I think Sutton being in a game script where it could be out of touch a little bit. I think Patriots is getting a DB back, and McMillan's dealing with a calf. Keenan's getting volume. Same scenario with Sutton. My gut, honestly, would be Hill, Sutton, Keenan. And then if you want to rock 7, 8, 9, 10 targets and you're worried about Sutton in that matchup against the Bengals because that could be an ugly one, or with Keenan because that could be an ugly one, then I'd flop in McMillan. I think Pickens has a lot of risk this week because they can key on him. That Packers D is going to really hurt that Cowboys offense because they're down on the offensive line coming into this. And they're also down on Lamb. You think targets would funnel straight up to Pickens, but they know that. And they're going to have that Michael Parsons revenge game. I think there's a lot of risk. He can volume into good production, but he's also a wide receiver that can score you like 25 one week and 5 the next. I would go the first 3 as my base. McMillan would be my swap if my gut's against Sutton or Allen because those game scripts could push them out of being... Are we talking Tyreek Hill? I'd go Tyreek Hill over all 3 of them. I'd do that. Fields or Jones? I need sleep. I need to look at a list of names real quick. Fields or Jones? Talking about Daniel Jones or Fields? I would go Daniel Jones. I like that matchup more. They have Justin Fields ahead of at Miami on the road. He's been out. It's fine. It's fine due to the rushing production. But Daniel Jones has a fire game script here. You're looking at this. I do not know why he's not higher. You got one of the highest over-unders here. Vegas is saying there's going to be a lot of points scored here. Like, even if it hits the under and it's like 48, 47, 46 total points, that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of movement from back and forth. And he's got weapons. He's got a lot of weapons. I think I'd be chasing this matchup here. You got a tight spread. Vegas right here is saying that this is going to be a fun game to watch. This is a game like you want investment in when it comes to my fantasy team, so I can have some bread there to cover. I'd go Jones with that. I like this matchup. I'm starting and breaking ties with matchups like this. There's a couple of them every slate. But the thing is, there's usually like one game every slate, which there should be statistically one or two, that just flips sideways really bad and mess you up. So we're getting a lot of questions going on. Burden or Rashid Shaheed rest of the season? Burden, I just chased that upside as a stash play. If you're looking for points right now, like game to game, lineup to lineup, then Rashid Shaheed. But odds are, if you're looking for a long term, I'm going Burden. Just seeing if he gets more opportunity later. A.J. Brown, Ricky Pearsall, Chris Godwin need 2 to start. Pearsall, A.J. Brown, I'd rock that. I actually like the Eagles-Bucks game today. Chuba Judkins, PPR. I think it's a coin flip between the two. I like Judkins a lot. I think he's going to flow pretty well. I think he's safe to get you to that 10-point range. Outside of that, both game scripts have to do something where they have to score multiple times for them to hit big. Start 2, wide receiver and 2 flex. Debo, Hendo, Golden. Okay, there's a lot of names. Start 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. So Debo, Hendo, Golden, Ladd, QJ, Swift, Herbert's my QB. Debo, Hendo. Okay, Debo, Hendo, Golden, Ladd, QJ, Swift. Due to the carousel effect of the Chargers, I'd probably pick one of the Chargers wide receivers. QJ's been hitting lately, but that could mean it could just flip to the other guy. I'd pick one of those. You need 2 of those. Debo, Swift. I wouldn't be against going both Chargers wide receivers. I wouldn't be against that. And then if you're looking at 2 flexes here, Swift and Debo if you want safety, Hendo for upside. So if you're looking at that, and I don't really like either of them this week, I'd go Debo. I'd go both No. How about, Swift and Golden. Swift and Golden. I don't like Debo this week. Like, I think he can get you to 10, but I also don't like Mariota. I don't like Hendo because I want to see something come out. I'd go Golden as that other flex. Next up here, I want to make sure there's no super chats down here at the bottom. So, think Hall gets traded. Stash Braylon or Woody Marks? When I think about those 2 running backs and what we've seen on the field so far, I think that's just going to have to come up with something with the starter for them to gain that traction and value. And when I think about that, obviously that's a crystal ball we don't have because that's either injuries or whatever. I think Nick Chubb, it's hard to bet on him playing a full season. That's really hard. So if you're looking at that for the next running back to get without having to fab up, it might be Woody Marks. But like we know, injuries can happen any way, shape, or form. I think Braylon Allen, college prospect wise, I like that profile. But when you're looking at short game samples for redraft, it doesn't matter as much. I think Woody Marks would be the guy I'd stash because he's getting more workload every single week. Nick Chubb, I love Nick Chubb, but like it's hard to imagine him playing a full season. So if I had to pick one, I don't know if Hall's going to get traded. That'd be hard to really speculate. It really depends on how the rest of the season goes and if they start running more games down and start losing more. T-Mac or Ladd in standard? My opponent has Herbert and Quentin Johnston. My gut goes T-Mac. But my gut also thinks that Ladd's due, but they got Ladd at 18. They got them right beside each other. Considering I had that much pause and they're straight up dead nuts tight with each other, and this is an average of what? 22 some rankings or whatever? 39. That's an average of 39 people ranking, so the market's saying it's tight. My gut went to tight, but my head went to T-Mac first. And the reason why my head went to T-Mac first but I don't like the matchup as much. I feel good getting 8, 10 to 9 targets, but I think the matchup here could lend to something like this. There's a chance for that, which that goes well with that ranking. I think the air yards are going to be more in favor for Tet. If it was my lineup, I'd probably go Tet. I think you're good to flip a coin. I think if you want to go against that, you're good. Just by talking that through, I think it is really up in the air. I think there's also a chance, there's actually a very good chance, that Jackson Dart doesn't play well and the Chargers don't have to push it through the air as much. That is also the risk. And you got the risk of Tet's calf coming in. And also, I think that's not going to be a great matchup for fantasy production. If it was my lineup, I'd go Tet because I feel like I'm safer knowing where the targets are going to be, chasing that 8 to 10 range of targets. Geno Smith or Bo Nix? I'm chasing that Bears matchup. I'm chasing that. I think Bo Nix is safer to that Bear range of like 10, 11, 12 fantasy points. I think Geno Smith, like last week, was it? Has a little bit more risk. But I think that upside with that Bears game, I want to chase. I want to chase that upside of the Bears matchup. Making sure there's nothing. Okay. Start one. Worthy, Judkins, Hendo, JCM. Judkins over JCM. Worthy versus Hendo. I think I'd go Judkins. I feel the safest with them, and I think we have some touchdown upside with that. I want to watch Worthy for a game before I go all in. I think Worthy does have some upside for a big yak play, but as I'm looking at that, I see Judkins sitting there, and I think I'm going to roll Judkins. I feel a little safe with him. Flex 1. Jennings, Hollywood, full PPR in a tough spot due to injuries. So Juwan Jennings versus Hollywood. I think I'd rank both the wide receivers ahead of JCM. I mean, there's a chance he could cross the goal line, but they're working touches between 3 running backs, and now they got a lot of issues right now with wide receiver. They may not be able to move the balls, what we're used to. Got to pick one, though. I would just go to that matchup with the Ravens and Chiefs, and I think I'd chase that volume and see if Hollywood can hit something big. That's probably what I would do. See if he can hit something big in that matchup. Baker Mayfield or Daniel Jones? That's a good one. That's a tight one. I like that question. Baker Mayfield or Daniel Jones? I want to see what they got because I have a little bit of bias of this Colts-Rams game. Is Baker up here? No, Baker. Where is Baker? There he is. They got Baker versus Philly. I think Baker's going to be safe. I think we're going to get volume in both games. I think both quarterbacks are better than their rankings. I think both of them are better than their rankings. Like, I like them both better than 13. Like, not ranking the quarterbacks, that might change, but numbers-wise, on their ability to score. Jordan Addison with a big play. He is at the 1 right now. You're good with either one. I am biased on both games. I do like both those games. Daniel Jones with his weapons, I feel a little bit safer with that since Evans is out. That's probably be the one I'd click the button on, but you're good with either or. You're actually very blessed at quarterback this week. Better than what those rankings say. Worthy, Aomanor, or Godwin? I think I'd rock Godwin. It's a coin flip between him and Aomanor due to the opportunities. But I think Godwin is going to be getting good volume in this matchup. I think he's going to be good to go from what we saw in the practice clips. Brees Hall or Scatterboo? The question with Scatterboo is if they're going to be behind and they're going to be getting a lot of targets. The thing about Dart is he led all college quarterbacks last year in deep pass attempts. That's 20 yards or more. He led them all. He's very aggressive. Aggressive quarterbacks don't tend to target the running back as much. I think I'd roll Brees Hall, actually. I'd roll Brees Hall. I was also thinking about Juwan Johnson flex or Brock Bowers with Aomanor DBT. I think volume-wise, that makes sense. Juwan Johnson. I think that strategy makes so much sense because it's not. I wouldn't look at him as like a tight end. I would look at him as, look at that, 11, 9, 8. So he's getting targets like a wide receiver. Like, so when you think about that, and you're thinking about Debo Ailmanor at wide receiver, and you're thinking about that at flex, I think that makes sense. He's safe, and you got a matchup here that's going to push production at Buffalo. Because you're looking at this over-under right here, 48.5, one of the highest in the week. You got a huge spread here. So Vegas is expecting the Saints to be down, so there should be some garbage time, them pushing it downfield, being aggressive with it. I think Juwan Jennings is a solid look. Star one, I'd go Golden. I think this is a great matchup for him. Like, really, I honestly think this over-under is a trap for some reason. Like, the Cowboys are down an offensive lineman. They're down CeeDee Lamb. It's Michael Parsons' revenge game. Now, they could make that up in garbage time, and that's how we get here. But I think the Packers, the one thing about this is the Packers get so far ahead that they don't need to push it. But Golden, I want to go back to that. I want to go back to what I showed everybody else so you see it right here. He is killing it in separation. This is separation, PFF separation grade. He's just killing it. They're just not connecting with him. So, with that being said, we're doing well on the field. We're doing very well on the field. We just got to connect with them. And if you think back, there's a couple games where he just got a couple targets, missed. I'd go Golden. Getting loading up with questions. Oh, wait, we got a few. J-Mo, Waddle, Worthy, pick 2. I'd go J-Mo, Waddle because they're both coming in not from an injury. I'd feel a lot safer with that. That's what I do. And with Worthy, I'm hedging back when I have to think about 1-for-1s. And if it's close, I'm usually going with the other guy this week because I want to see how's he going to be implemented coming back from that injury and how those targets are going to look like. Purdy or Mariota? I'd go Purdy. I'd go Purdy in that matchup. I had to pull Warren this morning. Flex 2. Tillman, Diggs, Woody Marks, Ollie Gordon. So the thing about the backup running backs is it's a Rochambeau to see who can score that touchdown. I think Ollie Gordon is safer in line for that. Now you're looking at Diggs versus Tillman. How many questions I got after this? I don't have a ton more. So let's pull up this. Let's pull the... Oh, that's not the site I wanted. Let's pull up this. Am I logged in? Yeah, I'm logged in. So, data analysis. So this is going to be pretty cool. This is on playerprofiler.com. Use code Bruce if you want these. It gives you a discount. I don't know how much. Like, I don't push promo codes really. It's just not my game. Like, if I do good work, the algorithm pushes me, and I don't want to peddle to you guys. But if it's a tool that I think's good, that will interest you, so Browns, I will let you know about it. Diggs, Patriots. Let's see who's running most routes. That's routes per game. Jerry Jeudy, Tillman. Diggs is running like half the routes of Tillman. Half the routes. That is probably it for me because I don't like either matchup. He's also competing with Boutte. He hasn't really hit much. This is against Carolina, though, so there's a good opportunity for that. They got him projected for 10 points, where Tillman is projected for 9.25. He's done a little bit more, 8 and 7. We have 3, but remember, that's the Green Bay game. And this is why we're talking about that over-under so bad with the Cowboys game. That's that Green Bay game. And that was Flacco missing everybody. That was Flacco being bad, and he could do that again. But with how good this Browns defense is at, another thing you want to look at is Vegas. And they've dropped over-under, but they're still right down the middle. because this, the Lions, they can push the pace. We got a 10 spread. I think I'd go Tillman. I think he's going to get a deep target downfield. I think whether or not he cashes it, that's going to be the thing. I think your next best bet would be Ollie Gordon. Just pray to God that he crosses the goal line and gets that opportunity. So who's next here? Start 2 out of 3. Trevion, Mooney, Chubb. Mooney, Chubb, fundamentally, Mooney, Trevion, if I need to shoot for max 20-plus points. Mooney, Chubb, fundamentally, if I need to get it on the fairway and I'm hoping for touchdowns to carry me over. Mooney, Trevion, if I'm trying to get max points and I do not care if I bottom out knowing that going in. Because I got hit by the Thursday night game. I'm nervous about other parts of my lineup. That's when I would do that. Herbert or May? What Herbert do last week? Because he's super safe. He's like 16. He's got the Giants. Like, go back to here. Log in. Guarantee they make me log in every time. Should be this. The thing about Herbert, and it's really, if you're shooting for max points, you go against Herbert. Like, if you're shooting for more upside. But you just look at the scoring here. Like, he's had one game that really bottomed out. That's his week 13 performance, unless you want to throw in this 10.2. But he hit double digits here, and depending on your quarterback scoring, he's just safe. Even in these matchups where they're supposed to be, he's just safe to get you there. That's the thing about that. May's good for fantasy. He's great. But, like, when you got a guy like Herbert, like, he's almost like set it and forget it. Where May's safe as well. I don't like his matchup as much. I think Herbert's going to be just safe for you. I think I'd go Herbert when I look at those two names. And I think I'd be going Herbert most weeks with most matchups. Charlie Best has Trevion in that list also. You missed. Charlie Best. I don't know what that means. You missed. Charlie Best. I missed. Charlie Best. Trevion, Mooney, Chubb. Charlie Best has Trevion. Did I miss Charlie Best? I missed Charlie Best. I had to pull Warren. Trevion. Tillman. Diggs, Woody. Is this what I mean? Well, I mean this. Charlie Best has Trevion on that list also. You missed. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, same thing, though. Like, if I'm just going for straight-up touchdowns for the running backs, I'd go Ollie Gordon. Just due to the volume of that and what he's been seeing. And then Tillman for the wide receiver. And then where are we going here? Thank you, though, for pointing that out. Myers and Sutton. Igbuka, Adams, pick 2. Okay, Jacoby Myers, Sutton. You're great at wide receiver. That's the thing about that. You got Devontae, Igbuka, Sutton. Like, you're just great. So that's going to be the problem here is you're just going to have to look for the upside in these players. But you're great. You got great floor with all those. I think Sutton's got some risk if the Chargers get up. Hold up. I'm tired. So let me double check. I'm talking right on my games. The Chargers are playing the Giants, and that is Broncos. So I think Myers has got a good matchup. Igbuka, I think he's going to be targeted no matter what. And I'm chasing that Colts-Rams game. So those would be my 3. And I'm going hard in that. Play Ollie Gordon, Pacheco, or McNichols, also playing HN already. I hate to say it, but Pacheco. I hate to say it, just because I know we're going to get the touches. If I was anti-Pacheco and I look at it and I'm like, I'm done, then I'd go Ollie Gordon. That'd be how I'd do it. If I was anti-Pacheco to the point I can't do it anymore, I would go Ollie Gordon. I think we're at least going to get the touches. We got 4.5 yards per carry. Got a target last week, 10 carries in the last 2 games. I know we're going to get that. It might get us to 7 fantasy points with the projection, maybe 9. You haven't scored a touchdown yet. We're due for that. Fundamentally, with that workload, you're starting Pacheco. If you're anti-Pacheco due to this, or if your gut says no, then I'd do Ollie Gordon. I'm projected to lose by 20 right now. I have Genty, Bowers, A.J. Brown, so I feel like I have some boom to keep it close. I think I'll go Trevion over Chubb. That's good. Yeah, if you need the boom, that's what I'd do. If I needed to hit the fairway, I'd go Chubb. Yeah, if you need more boom, yeah, because with Chubb, you got to hit that end zone. You're not going to be racking up catches in big plays, where Trevion, if he hits, he's going to hit big, especially if he gets in space. I think that's the right thing when you get the context. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Also like the profile picture. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you for calling that out. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I think I got everybody. I'm watching. So, StreamYard, transparency-wise, there's just a little, like, slither, and it's your questions. It's about this big. Well, you can't really about this big on the screen. And I just go down it. 12:37 right now, looking at the game. As we're watching the game together. Boom, I got the score up here, looking at the stats. Pull this down so you guys can see it. 21-24, minute 14. I imagine things will start flowing once this game has concluded. We're getting a delay game right now. Yeah. Caleb Johnson, 6 carries, 22 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 19 for 99 and 2. Not surprised. Kenneth Gainwell's safe. He's very safe. That's something Arthur Smith would like. Like, even when I did the Caleb Johnson videos, talking about him as a stash, brought up Gainwell, brought in Arthur Smith, what he did with Bijan, where there was just some games where, like, why ain't you getting the touches, all that. That was part of that. DK Metcalf, 5, 126 and 1. I forget my real analysis on it. I think with DK, I said he was good to hit the fairway in this one, and then he could volume to more. So I'm probably like, I don't know, lukewarm right on him for the week. And it's up, should I start Godwin or Higgins? That's a good question, because with Godwin, I really hope I'm in a position where I could at least watch him for a week, but I also like his matchup better than what people say with their rankings. They got Godwin at 65 among wide receivers. T is a lot higher, 35 at Denver. That Denver matchup, they got a pick. This game's over. I wonder if I catch copyright if I, like, just hold the game up on a phone like this for you to watch. If that happens. But they definitely have T. Higgins by a good bit over Godwin. I think it's a lot closer than that. Let's look at sleeper projections. Where's that at? That's actually like a better sleeper projections. 11. So they're saying he's so-so. And then Godwin. Their projections are going to be off because he hasn't played. Both of them have risks. I like Godwin's matchup better. I think he's going to be good to go to play a lot of snaps. Team has not indicated he will be on snap count because they don't have to indicate it. From what I've seen in practice, which is a small sample, I think he's going to be out there. I think he's going to run a lot of routes. What's up? So let me check my settings. I knocked over my stuff. I think it's a coin flip. I think security-wise, I'd go Higgins a lot of the time. I think there's a good chance Godwin does well. Let me fix this camera here. Go here. Go back here. Should be good now. Should be good. Should be back here. Default Mac audio. Going back to the microphone. The microphone on the Mac's actually pretty solid. It's actually better than these. This microphone was sent to me. I do not know how much it cost. It was sent to me by the company. Devonta Smith or Travis Etienne. Also, I do not recommend buying the microphone. I've had a lot of trouble getting the settings adjusted. I've had it for a year. Been having trouble with it for a year. It's fine, but it gets by. Travis Etienne is safer for me. I know he's going to be getting the touches and opportunity. Usually, when I'm tight with running back, wide receiver, and I like the the running back, I'm going to go that route. That would be what I would do offhand. I want to check the rankings. I'm pretty sure they got Travis Etienne ahead of him. I would go Etienne. 51. Devonta Smith. They agree with me. I would go Travis Etienne. Just because I know he's going to get the touches. There's a chance targets could be low and it all goes to A.J. Brown. Chase Brown, Golden, Pittman. I'd roll Pittman. I think he's got a good matchup this week. I think Chase Brown, I kind of want to wait and see things through. I think if you're just trying to get to that RB2 production range, and you're not taking upside into account, Chase Brown will be fine. But, what are the odds that Michael Pittman's going to give you nothing? That's the thing about that. So, I'm not going to stress that too much with my decision-making when I'm entering that lineup for myself. 28-19. That was against Denver. This should be a good, fiery game script. It should be back and forth. We got high. I'd go Pittman because you got the upside here of exploding where that Bengals offense, it's tough for them. Matthew Golden, this could be his coming out party, but he doesn't have the volume or the security that you're going to catch from a Michael Pittman. So if it was me and I was doing my lineup, I'd go Pittman and roll with that. That's what would be my answer. So going back to this game coming up, or right now. Oh, new question. 21-24. I was answering questions, don't know what happened, but Vikings got the ball back. Wentz in trouble. All right, so now we got Keenan Allen or T-Mac. I think most of the time I'm probably going to shoot T-Mac in this situation. However, if you're just trying to get it onto the fairway, be a little bit safer, I'd go Keenan Allen. But I think most of the time with my lineups, I'm going T-Mac. And I think I'm just going to go T-Mac a lot of times in my lineups, just chasing this volume. If you are worried about the calf, I am worried about this matchup here, but I'm worried about both these teams' matchups. But I am worried about things going array with this matchup and it being slow and ugly and him being slow. He had a slow game last week. I think I'd go T-Mac, though, still, for my personal preference. I think it's tight between two. You'd go either, but I'd go T-Mac if it was me. Debo or Henderson this week. I'm not huge on Debo this week, but I think the workload's going to be there. They got him at 49, and they got Hendo at 79. It's against Carolina, though. The other running backs fumbled it up. So really when I think about this play is, and I say this a lot, and it's really because I feel like Debo's going to have a hard time with Mariota. They're out some wide receivers. They can key up on him a little bit more. I like Debo if I'm searching for safety to that 10, 11, 12 range. I think there's a big risk that Hendo can get you 5 points. I think the upside's huge, though, and larger with him against Carolina. So if I'm shooting for 20 plus and not worried about the floor of just getting 5 to 6 fantasy points, I'm going Hendo. I think a lot of times I'd probably shoot for that today. I think a lot of times, unless I'm feeling damn right golden about my lineup. Like if I'm damn right golden about my lineup, 9 times out of 10 I'm going Debo. I think if I'm looking at my matchup and I feel like I need a little bit of extra gusto, and I feel like if I'm just getting so Debo results, like getting 10, 11, 12, and I feel like that may not be enough to get me by, I'm going Hendo. That would be my thing, and that would be my strategy here. 22-17, but 4 with Mariota, that's the risk. You also don't have McLaurin to take the top off. You're playing with Luke McCaffrey. Now you're the guy. You're not the 1A, 1B, or whatever you want to put him in that offense. I think there's risk. I think there's also a chance that we soak up targets. That's why I say he's a little safer. And I think we can beat 4.9. He's got 12. They're saying he's in that 10 to 12 range more than likely. He's safe for that, I feel like. I feel like Hendo has a chance to usurp that. I think more often than not, depending on your lineup situation, if I'm just pounding lineups real fast, I'm going Debo. But if I really have to think about it and I'm looking at my lineup versus the other guy, another guy did well on Thursday, or if he has a rough, or if he's doing very well, coming in, good lineup, then I'm going Hendo, shooting for that upside. Sorry, it's both answers, but it really depends on the context because I don't like Debo's situation right now. I don't like the matchup too much. It is on the road. And Michael Penix is another question with that, whether or not he's going to play like he did the last 2 weeks. So that is the huge question. I think a lot of times you go with that Debo security, and then if you guys shoot for that upside, you're going Hendo. Looking back at this game here, 21-24 right now. Stats are, it's final. So we should start to, yeah, thank you. Thank you, though, for the question. Thank you. I like to be detailed, and I like to be honest, and a lot of times just sharing whatever I got that comes through my head, I think that's going to help the most, and just, like, throwing out, like, good or bad, because at least, like, you got the process with it. And then, this one thing, I don't think people realize this. No, I get it. This is really think about this. So professional sports bettors typically maintain a long-term winning percentage of 53 to 55%. So every time I do like a start sit question or whatever, so there's high probability that there's a miss there. So when you take that in account and you're helping people, if you talk in the circle and just give them the right direction and help them and try to help them, that is the best thing to really do. Because statistically, if I just go answer, that's due to these numbers right here. It's wrong process. It's wrong process, even if I'm right. And there will be weeks that I'm super right. And that's like, if you're thinking about it, like helping people customer service standpoint, where even though it's free or whatever off the internet, like that's still like, it's like, I want to be honest. I want to be truthful. That's why I talk. And that's another reason why, like, knowing that I have Neighbors and Worthy starting. Not sure which RBs I should start. Dobbins, Williams, Brown. Also an open flex slot. I would rank them how you have them at running back. Dobbins, Williams, Brown. Williams, rough matchup, but touches. Chase Brown, rough matchup, worst quarterback play. Dobbins, grand matchup, should be up in that game. I like that. I don't know if you need to start 2 or 1, but that's how I would rank that. And then open flex spot with Thornton available. So with Thornton available, he is a wide receiver that I have categorized that you just got to make the choice that you're either going to do it or not. And you throw them in the lineup, you close your eyes and pray to the gods of the fantasy football hemisphere. Because the thing about his game, it's probably best to show it here. So, where are we at here? I'll show it to you real quick. Air yards report. And I just want Chiefs. Air yards share, air yards. His ADOT's 25. His ADOT's at 25, so that deep target, he's going to get a couple deep targets every game. He brings that in, he's going to be money. Because that ADOT at 25 is elite. Elite of elite. Like, we're chasing ADOTs 12 plus. This is at 25. He's got 453 air yards on the season. He's got 71, 59, 41. It's all about the deep ball. These targets should be coming down, probably around the 4 to 5 range. So if you're going to put him in, it's the gamble to score big. He's projected to score 8. So if I put him in, there's a chance I get 5, 6, 7, 8. There's also a chance I cash big on the big play. And the matchup doesn't really matter. It's just whether or not, like, the one play breaks down and he's cashing big. So that's what I would think about. If I need to shoot that gamble for a 20-plus performance, he's perfect to have that bullet in the chamber. But understand the downside is missing that big splash play downfield. Warren, Kraft, Pollard. Warren over Kraft. I think Kraft is shooting for that touchdown. I think that could be a nasty game script. I think Kraft has a good game script. I think Warren should get the volume. I'm going Warren over Kraft. I think both of them are safer than Pollard this week. I think Pollard probably be all right for 10-ish points. I think I'd go Warren, though. Caleb Williams or Justin Fields? Let's look this up for you. Caleb Williams or Justin Fields? Do I already have it? It's quarterback stats. Why did this change for me? PPR don't matter. Bears Raiders, right? See, they're up here top 7. Allowing fantasy points to quarterbacks. Raiders, Drake May, Herbert, Mariota. They're allowing fantasy points to the quarterbacks here. Even though this was a weird-ass game script. And then we got an over-under here. Bears Raiders. Let's see where that's at. See if that line moved. I think I'm going to lean Caleb Williams. Wherever that game's at. Wherever that game's at. I'm going to lean Caleb Williams on that. Right there. 47.5. Should have good movement here on the road. I'm going to lean Caleb Williams. Justin Fields or Drake May. Feel a little safer with Drake May. I think I'd roll with that right now with Fields coming back. I think I'd roll with that. I think Fields has the upside to splash on that big run. I think Drake May is what I would be hitting in my lineup. Which RB to start? JCM, Woody Marks, or Ollie Gordon? Ha! I think when we're looking at these 3 running backs, we're looking at the potential of scoring and crossing the goal line. I don't think any of them right now are in position to just get touch after touch after touch. I could change this week, and the change would be to JCM. I think if I'm making that bet, I'm going with Ollie Gordon. If I have to do that, I would be chasing that. And, And then Debo, the safe play, and Tyquan Thornton, if you want to close your eyes and gamble with it, because he could hit that deep ball. I think I'd go Debo as my safe option. If I'm down big or if I'm hurting so bad that I have to shoot for the upside to get that 20 plus or 5 to next to 0, then I'd go Tyquan. But more than likely, most of my lineups, I'd be going Debo Samuel. Flex Henderson, Worthy, Jamo, Ellick. I'd go Jamo. It's a rough matchup, but they may have to get creative with it. They may have to push it downfield. I think if you're looking for a safe play after Jamo, it would be Ellick. If you're looking for straight up boom, Hendo. But if it was my lineup, I would go Jamo. Mahomes or Bo? I'd go Mahomes. I think Mahomes is actually a very safe quarterback for QB2 production. Let's see what he's done against Baltimore. That's interesting me real quick. Let's see. Of course, they don't have the playoff games in here. It's 18. But you look at this. Over a year, we have not missed. A lot of people were down on him last year in this production, especially during this run right here. But he was just being stable. He's a stable quarterback. I would chase the stability there. Like, Bo Nix is fine in fantasy. It's a good matchup for him. Mahomes or Purdy today? I feel safe with Mahomes. I'm going to see what Fantasy Pros has because now we're looking for upside too. But I feel usually I would probably just tap that Mahomes button and roll with it. They got him at 5 at Baltimore versus Jacksonville. I could definitely see that game getting ugly. That Jacksonville 49ers game. I'm worried about that. I could definitely see points being scored against Baltimore and Baltimore struggling a little bit against that KC defense, but them having enough push back and forth to where it's safe. And Mahomes is relatively safe. I'd usually be pushing that Mahomes button for me. Hendo or Ricky Pearsall, full PPR. I'm going Ricky. I just feel safe. I want to see Hendo do something first. And I'll throw Hendo in lineups where I'm hurting or if I want to shoot for pure upside and gamble with it. I think if I have a guy like Ricky Pearsall and what he's been doing, I think I'm just going to rock with that because he's relatively just been getting good volume, 7, 6, and 11. Like, he had a 9-point game against the Saints. You got Jacksonville. I'm worried about that matchup, but we're running like 97% of the snaps. What else do I got up here, advanced analytics-wise? So let's look at the air yards here real quick. 49ers down here. What was my other team that I have? 49ers. Chiefs. Where's the Chiefs at? Where did they hide them? We're right there. Oh. He's getting a 16.5 ADOT. Like, that's nasty. That is nasty. 16.5 ADOT on all those targets. Like, yeah, I'm rocking that. You're looking at the ADOT of everybody else. Like, Jennings is getting a fair amount of targets each game, but 8. Everybody else, MVS, he's going to have a deep ADOT just because he's got that 4.3 speed. He's getting deep balls. He's getting a little bit of everything. Yeah, that's what I'm rocking with. He's 3rd in air yards. Imagine that's what that means. What we got here? Troy Franklin, Matthew Golden. Well, I'm looking at this in multiple different directions. A lot of people got LKO Manor questions. I got the numbers up here. Might as well just throw them up because I haven't looked at him for a minute, which means the day. I wish I had highlighted better. There we go. He's got an 8 off 13.3. He's getting targets. Five, 6, and 7. Troy Franklin's in a matchup here that I trust a little bit more. Golden's an upside play, pure upside play. I think Chris Godwin is going to be running a lot of work, getting a lot of opportunity in this matchup. I think I go Godwin Franklin between the two. If I want to shoot for upside, if I want to shoot for pure upside in my matchup, and I want to shoot for more than just getting on the fairway, I'd actually inverse that and go Matthew LKO Manor. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for the max possible points with the risk of flatlining, Golden AO Manor. If I'm looking to hit it on the fairway and get 10 from Godwin, 10 for my other one, it'd be Godwin Franklin. But if I'm looking for I'm worried about this Houston Titans game that it could be ugly. and I'm worried that could slow it down. Matthew Golden's been volatile with deep balls downfield, but I think this could be his breakout game. If I'm looking for max points right now with a lot of risk, Golden, LKO manner. But if I'm looking to get it on the fairway, get 10 from each, be safe with that, Franklin, Godwin. Hope that helps out a lot. It's 1 o'clock. The games are rolling in. I'm going to roll out here. Hope I helped you guys out. So it looks like you want stable. So yeah, I'd do that first set. I'd definitely do that first set with the stability. I think Alligator Manor could hit this week, but also I think that game script, Titans Houston, could be a little bit rocky because both these teams have been in crazy game scripts all year. Like you're starting with that Denver game. That was like it was good for him route wise and everything. And the Rams game, like that defense just is really hard on that other team, and they make it into dogfights. That's what's worrying me about that. But like you can make the same case with Franklin. Yeah, if you're looking for just a stability play, like 10 each, 10, 11, 12 each, yeah. If you're looking for straight upside gamble, I'd do the other two. That's what I would do. Thank you for watching, though. I'm going to head out, watch some games. I'll be back with more videos around 6, 7 o'clock. Waiver wire. I'll do a waiver wire video tonight. I will do one talking about the players who have not played so well, tell them what to do with them, and then also recapping the games. I want to thank you guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one.